I want to talk about today is what I call general purpose AI tools. So these are things that are going to have a wide range of purposes. And for those of you who are familiar with my workspace from last week, you'll see I've got all of my tabs up top. Each one of these have different things in them. Funny enough, you'll see some places like I've got multiple chat GPTs. It's because I'm in the middle of doing something with them. And you can open multiple instances of some of your tools and be working on things. I also have a new one here for AI Lunchbreak. I just have one thing under there so far, but I'm going to be putting more stuff under there. And that will be where I'm actually working on some of the programming and things like that for this. So very helpful. But what I want to show you first here is what I call my core tools. And I keep all of the general purpose AI tools here. And by general purpose, I'm talking about things that are called generative AI. You can generate all sorts of different things out of them, but especially they're there for answering your questions, helping you figure things out, writing massive amounts of content for you. So, any kind of writing that you need to do. And to some degree, some of them also do images, but I will cover images separate because some of these tools, even if they do them, may not be the best. So figuring that out is a whole nother area. Okay, so first thing I'm in ChatGPT, and I'm just going to run through some of the major ones, what they are. So ChatGPT, Google Gemini has come so far. They had been a bit slow to really doing everything, but now they're making massive leaps and bounds with their Gemini. Perplexity, this one is not technically a general AI purpose tool, but I have it in here. And the reason why I keep that in here is because it's my answer machine and I use it like a core tool. So I still put it in here, but it's separate. I would say it's more for your market research and search kind of stuff. And then I've got Copilot in here. So Microsoft Copilot, because I'm in Edge, I also have Copilot over here. If you look up to the upper right of my screen, you'll see that I can just click on this button and it's right there. It's exactly the same thing. So very helpful. Claude, and I even put up Grok to play around with that a little bit. I've been a little bit more iffy about using Grok personally, and I don't think I will move forward with using it much. It's X's AI, and I have issues with the way they operate, and have it open available free right now, and it is a fabulous tool. If you are using X, it might be a wonderful tool for you to be using because of the integration of and how that will work. And it is free right now, but there are questions about how long it will stay free. All of these that I'm showing you have free and paid versions. I actually have two of these are paid versions for me. One is I just pay straightforward for ChatGPT. I love it. It has the functionality. I've been doing all my work in here. So that will be the primary one I cover. However, I also pay for Google Workspaces because of the memory, the Google, not the Google Drive, what's it called? Yeah. No, not Gemini. This is my personal space. What do we call it? I'm just missing the name. Anyways, it's basically all of the memory, the cloud memory that I'm paying for. So because I pay for that, I also have the Google Workspace, which I've been installing and setting up. It's actually not there. And then, so you can see mine actually says Pro because of that. Because I'm a pro, I also have a paid version of Gemini, which will give me a little bit more. It might give me more functionality, but it also gives me more ability to use this without giving me oh, you've reached some kind of limit, which is what will typically happen with all of these. Perplexity, they'll tell me how many more I can do of different things. So to just show you how all of these work, pretty much all of them work very similarly, not exactly the same. But I did show this a little bit last week, which is that there's this option here called customizing your GPT. This kind of thing is really important and very helpful because this is where you give it instructions about how you want it to talk back to you. And I didn't see anything like this in Gemini, but it might be because I have it set up already under Google. But there are different things about how you run your account. Here under, again, Perplexity, which is not a general AI, but I'm going to include it in this group anyways. But I can introduce myself. I had a little bit about that. So I did have I can include different types of things in there as well. So there are some personalizations. And if you're going to use a tool regularly, helping guide it is going to be one of the best things you do. So when would you use each of these? This is a harder question to answer because there's a lot of similarity. Like I said, I'm using mostly ChatGPT and I'm starting to use Google a lot because they've made great leaps and bounds with what they're doing. And so I would think about it more as how does this work with what you're doing? One reason to use Google would be if you're using all of the other Google products, like if you're using Google Docs and the Google Drive and all of this, you have the ability to, and I actually have this under my ops area, where this is a new Google workspace. They've been really working to pull everything together. So if you're already working with that, choosing Gemini might actually make sense if you're already paying for the Google workspace. It is called a Google workspace, but it comes with the, again, the memory. I get 2 terabytes of memory with my account, which is a lot of memory. So that would be a reason to do that. Microsoft integrates well with the Microsoft suite. So if you're doing a whole lot with Excel and PowerPoint and you're using Word, this might be a good reason to start to use this one as opposed to the other ones. Claude, a good reason to do this is if you're using a lot of large documents. So if you were into something like a lot of research, let's say you were writing let's say you were doing some big kind of writing projects and stuff like that. I do my writing projects with ChatGPT, but if I was going to be doing, let's say I'm writing technical manuals or something like that, I would be using Claude. It functions much better for long documents. It can also summarize long documents much better than the other tools. So it's a great one for detailed analysis, large text volumes. So that will help you think of that. Like I said, I don't use Grok. I don't plan to. I've played around with it a bit, but if you were using X and wanted it for that purpose, has its own benefits too, which can be worthwhile. And you can try all of these things. So I'm going to move that perplexity at the end. Okay, so that's a kind of an overview, setting up and customizing your tools, any of them. You'll notice that even though I'm saying that you might want to choose what you're doing, I also suggest having multiple. And here's the reason. Sometimes I will put a prompt in and I will copy it and I'll see what I get from another place. So there can be reasons for doing different things. And sometimes I'm working in my Google workspace. And so I can work with complexity within the workplace, right? So stuff like that can make a big difference. But generally speaking, and you'll see it from over here on the side here of this is what my ChatGPT looks like. I'm regularly using that quite a lot. So let's talk a little bit about the uses and choosing tools. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about prompting because that's going to be our next topic. All right. So let me just pull up my notes here. Okay. So besides those general things, let's see. So I mentioned your I also wanted to mention with your core tools, free versions. Most of these have free versions. So why not use multiple of them? Try 2 or 3, have them available, and that's really helpful. So let's go into prompting right next. Prompting is the instruction that you put into it. So you can see my prompt, right? You know, what I might have put in. I'm going to record my Zoom, blah, blah, blah. So I have all of these have prompts. That's all my prompt is, the instructions that I put in it. Sometimes it's really simple. Sometimes it's a lot more advanced. What makes a good prompt, and this is going to be true with any of these that you're going to be using, is that it should be as specific as possible. I'm going to do a little demo. And I'm going to do this one, and let's try this in Gemini. I can say, for example, to write a post about our new lemon blueberry swirl flavor. Let me at least put of cookie, right? Because I'm going to pretend I'm a bakery here. And it's going to spit something out really quick. And maybe it's good and maybe it's not. But What I want to encourage you to do is be thinking about how you're going to really make something a little bit better. And how can you do that? So here's an example, and I have these ready just so I can cut and paste so I can show you them. I'm giving it a little bit more information. Write a short Instagram post to promote a new summer. It's available only in the summer, and this is going to change it. And it's also, this gave me a lot of text. If I was writing an Instagram post, was that maybe just a wee bit too long? Look how much now it's shortened it. It made it really customized for the purpose. And now I'm going to be even a little bit more precise in what I want it to be. And I'm going to say, act like a top social media manager for a neighborhood bakery that caters to busy. I'm telling it who they are. I'm telling it who they're writing it for. Now I've added busy moms and families. And I'm still adding the same information, a fun and friendly Instagram caption promoting our new summer flavor, lemon blueberry swirl. Mentioned it's available only about for limited time, include 3 emojis. Actually, it did up there too, interestingly enough. So I can tell it where I want, what I want. And there we go. It actually gave me more emojis, 3 together. But this is AI, right? Sometimes it's precise, sometimes it's not. But this is how you're going to get better prompts, improve your prompts, is whenever you say who they are, how you want them to speak, and who they're speaking to, who their target audience is. What could I have done to even make this better? For example, some things I might have done to make this even better would be to refer to my brand guidelines. I could have hit this button down here. See this button with a plus? It says add files. If I had brand guidelines, let's say I had it in a PDF, I could have uploaded it. Click and add. So that would be one thing that I could do that would make a big difference. I could ask it to suggest image shots that I should include, since this is an Instagram post, right? I could be asking it that. I wouldn't ask it to create something because it's my own cookie. I don't want to include pictures of cookies that don't look like my cookies. I want it to look like my cookies. I don't want to deceive anybody about what it is. I might mention my website and say, make it sound like the voice on my website. I can do things like include links, so I can help it, guide it as much as I want to. So there's still even better ways that I might be able to do this. But what I'm seeing is a lot of people putting in simple things like this, when how you're going to get what you want are building and then really building who you want, ChatGPT or Google or Gemini or whomever, whichever the AI is, who they are, who they're writing for, what the goal is, what the format is, any kind of styling information. It knows if I say Instagram post, it knows about how long it should be. So I don't have to say this long, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to include this with an image and give me some suggestions on images. Okay. So this is how I want you to start thinking about your main tools. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about our other tools. First of all, the way I think of tools are you have these general purpose AI tools. They can dance around and do most things you need. But then we have specific AI tools. So they are AI tools meant to do basically one thing. And an example of this would be something like Otter. Oh, it's probably under my Otter, which is the tool where it can transcribe different things. So it can record a live meeting. So I can record the meeting. I can have it record within Zoom, stuff like that. So that's Otter. It's an AI tool, does one thing, helps transcribe and create summary notes for stuff. So we have tools like that. And then we have a lot of tools that are also have AI integrated in them. And one of the ones I'm going to cover in a minute is going to be Canva. Let me just close this one. Canva as being one of my top suggested of all AI tools, because for most people, this will cover the vast majority of their marketing materials right here. Before I do that, I do want to show you one more thing with Perplexity. Like I said, Perplexity is a little bit different. It is an answer engine. It does, like all of these other ones, here's my library of things I've been asking and more recently from it. But I might use this tool for questions such as this. Let's say I want to know, as I'm working on my cookie stuff, in the US or in California, if you can tell me, because I have no idea if this information is available. And I didn't test this. I just wanted to do this for our meeting. What are the top 10 cookie flavors? If I'm actually coming up with a cookie flavor, this would be a really good way of doing that. And what I like about Perplexity is it's telling me where it's looking, right? So it's going to tell me the top 10 cookies. And so interesting. So I said lemon blueberry swirl. We see our lemon and citrus, so it might fit. But anyways, gaining popularity in California for their fresh flavor. Interesting. So that might help me feel a little better about my lemon blueberry cookie as well. So this is a really fabulous, quick, when you just want an answer. I use this tool a lot all the time. I have the free version. I do not pay for it. The other thing I should mention before I move on to showing you Canva a little bit more is that you'll also notice that some of these tools have, let's get out of here. Let's just go to new chat. And they have different types of options on here. And there's create an image, search the web. So I can instruct ChatGPT what I want it to do, write or code. It's smart enough to know sometimes, but if I really want to make sure it's clear, and especially with running deep research, let's say I wanted to do some kind of analysis of some sort, but pulling information about something. My top thing that I do this for is health things because I want to know current studies. But you might want to have very deep market research and you might have it scan information. You're going to see this across other platforms as well. Down here in the bottom of Gemini, there's the same thing. There's a deep research option. And Copilot, we've got quick response and think deeper. And then Perplexity also has an option that was the mode, set sources, and this is the web academic, which means it's going to search academic papers. So it's going to, again, it is a really good research type of tool. And you can also set this to search social, which is interesting. So knowing some of these things also about the tools, just wanted to touch on that before we move on. So again, I'm going to move on from these tools and I want to touch upon Canva. So I have in my tabs, I keep images that would open up, images, video, music, writing, different things that I'm doing. And for images right now, I have Canva open, but I use it for video. I use it for a whole lot of other things beside that. And what they have is they have this lovely magic design option. So I can hit into Canva AI here and go right into what I want to do. I can go home and I can tell it that, for example, and we will have a specific session on Canva. Why do I harp on it so much? Because you can do so much and their AI functionality in here is amazing. So I started an Instagram post over here, for example. So if I do that and now I go into Magic Media, I can start telling it what I want. And I can do the same kind of thing over here. Let's see how it does. I gave it this prompt, promote a new lemon blueberry swirl cookie available this summer at a local family-owned bakery. Target moms looking for after school. And so a little bit different. I made it include bright sunny colors and fresh summer vibe. And I'm just going to, why is my thing is freezing? There we go. All right. And it's going to take a minute to be able to pick up and do that. But you can see what we've got here is we've got some pictures that it's come up with. I'm also looking for, so there's the images, graphics, and I can also do the same thing. So that one was the images, but I could do the same thing with the text. Hey, Jess, hold on 1 second, everybody. My mouse is freezing up. Could you give me a new battery? I think it's battery. So I'm going to talk about that while I think my mouse is having problems. So I'm going to get that fixed. In the meantime, I just want to say that so the free version versus the paid version of Canva, Why I like Canva so much is because for most people, you can do a lot with the free version. What it doesn't allow are some things such as when you see, if you look on the middle left there where it says brand and you see a little crown, that means it is a premium version feature. So that you do have to have the paid version. And that will help keep your branding consistent. It will allow you to see your color palette, the regular fonts you use. So it's going to do all of those kind of stuff, which is really important. Okay, that should be back. There we go. My battery just suddenly died on my wireless mouse. Very funny. So this was Magic Media. And sorry, I'm looking over there because I'm trying to get around my camera here. And for, there we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Magic Write down there. Let's just do promote a new and just do the same thing there. And it's going to give me some text there. I could have again given it, maybe I probably should have said this is an Instagram post. To me, this seems like it was awfully long, but I can insert that. And now I can start moving this around. If I get to having a hard time moving, but I might be hitting the wrong thing. All right. There we go. Having a hard time doing that. Okay, but let's say I was doing something, and this is a little bit long, but I could at least instantly, I've done this very quickly without much work. It needs work. Part of it's my fault, right? I didn't give it the right prompts. And realistically, I wouldn't have done this. I would have uploaded my picture. Just wanted to show you, you can do things with pictures. You can do things with text in there. So I could create my entire promotion within Canva. So really fabulous tool. We're getting close to the time. So I want to show you just another tool first. And this is one that I think everybody should probably be using. Get rid of this and pull up. If you are meeting with clients, not that one, I have several different accounts here besides different, there we go. And like the other one, you'll see I have different tabs. This is a whole nother thing. But on here, I've got my Calendly. And Calendly is a good example. Another is an example of a tool that has AI integrated. And so I have all of my meetings in here. I have 3 types of meetings whenever I'm meeting with clients. I've got one for my own business. I've got 2 for my work with the SBDC. Why is this so important and how does it use AI? It really helps me with my calendar. It integrates with calendar. So it's really even more than an AI tool, it's an automation tool. So it helps set up things such as automatic emails to all of my clients, helps people reschedule without me ever having to be involved. So that would be another example of a tool that would be really very helpful. It sets up a simple booking page that people can go to. So I see that we're getting close to time. So I want to show you, and we'll try to show you one more thing. And before we get to meeting time. And this is one other thing that so while I'm doing this, stop share. And while I'm doing this, I also wanted to tell you a little bit about, so how are you going to decide which tools you're using? Because there are thousands and thousands of tools. So a good way of thinking about it is this. What are your purposes? What are the biggest challenges? What is 80% of the work that you need to do? That will help you figure out how to spend your time and what tools to work with. All right, going to share my screen here. Okay, and this is my phone. So now I'm going to be sharing my phone, if it will go. There we go. Okay. There we go. So this is what my phone looks like. And you can see what I have all at the top of this, which is you can see ChatGPT. There's Perplexity, there's Copilot. I haven't put in, looks like I haven't done Gemini yet, but I have those ones right now, which I'm using regularly. So Perplexity for my answers. I was using Copilot a lot. I'm going to start using Gemini a lot more, and ChatGPT. In addition, I have a few other tools on here. I have Suno because I like making music. I have Otter, which I mentioned is a really good way of recording. So I can have a meeting and have it recorded on my phone as well. Not an in-person meeting, but anyways, it gets confusing, but there are different types of meetings that I can have and have Otter record, which is really helpful. And then I've got a few other tools that are really mostly about images, 11 Reader being about voiceovers. So I would suggest you start thinking of what tools you want to use. This is my whole AI tool selection here. I keep them all together and start playing with them on your phone too. It's a really super powerful way of using AI. So I know we're starting to hit over, but just think of that mobile AI in your pocket. And so what I'd like you to think about again before we move forward, because we're going to be talking about tools over the next few days, over the next few weeks, and we're going to go into each of those kind of sections. But today, focus on what is your main tool that you're going to use and start thinking about those other tools that you need to use for specific purposes. Start documenting what am I doing that where AI can help. All right. Thank you, everybody who's been there.